that the harvesting, um, yeah, harvest is not only just being ready and you have done everything can be. So for parts of it, however, if you want to harvest over time, over the entire summer or grow season, might not be only summer, the entire grow season, you need to think about early propagation again. Let's say, duration of 4 weeks. So you have to be ready with your next plants as soon you harvest that you replace the plants so that you have the next cycle started. And that's what we do. That's also part of it. And important for the harvesting process, also what you do with the plants. Although it's pretty clean process with the cocoa coir, there are no microbes in it. It's pretty clean. We wash the plants and either we prepare them for smoothies that we are going to give to clients, or salads ready made, whatever it's requested, so whatever we want to produce or sell. And that way, you have to think about packaging, you have to think about what you do with that. And it needs to be in line with probably health requirements so that there's no contamination. How you do it, how you clean. That is what we see in our process part of harvesting. That's long story short, and we, with our experience, we had also learning, and we were quite happy to see that way of farming that we could compare to the way we did in soil farming. We could compare them, and we have quite a bit of learnings in it, and that we would like to share. What we really experienced was and is that we, for the same yield, we need literally a fraction of acreage. Then what we see, we have no impact. The farming that we do, soilless in a vertical way, has no impact on soil, and it's very water efficient. That is a topic that really at the moment is on top of our minds, so the water. And what we also discovered that over the entire harvesting seasons, we do not need much of the nutrient solution. So it's not that you have so many that you have to rebuy again. It's something also very efficient versus I know from other farmer friends that they grow in soil, they have tons of fertilizer, and that's also growing very expensive. We were surprised when we started our endeavor that we don't that much. And on the other side, we have until now we did not use any pesticide, and we brought also some ideas about that. So we'll show that. In terms of acreage, I think it's thanks to Niklas, so who is doing that very precisely, also monitoring what we really need for each plant and what we really use in space. We have different types of growing, means fruits, vegetables, different towers. So for lettuce and herbs, we prefer to grow in high density towers where you even have more possibilities to fill the towers. And on the other hand, so we have these for stability since we are working outdoors, so we cannot go higher than 44 plants. And for if you have later on questions, Niklas will elaborate that more. So we use usually in the bigger towers, we use only spaces for 33 plants. So that the plants have enough room, but still efficient. It's still efficient so that they can grow and do not need that much space. So that means actually when we want to increase our farming area, it's not that we need zillions of acreage. We are really can go with smaller ones. The most important thing is we need light. We cannot do that where the plants are too much covered by trees or buildings. That needs to be considered in the way of urban farming. And I mentioned earlier, we have no negative impact on soil. That's important because I know that from Germany that sometimes even in the organic farming soil is impacted very often by fertilizer, by pesticides, whatever is brought out on plants because it's washed away by rain and whatever. So since we have no contact with the soil, the only impact that we have that's our coat frames and the area, the surface area that we use for our towers and tanks for sure. Even water, the water pipeline is below surface so that we can wash water through the towers via pipelines, and that's something we have no impact. So we do not disturb the cover crop, and that makes sure that we have no erosion in it, and it's a very it's nothing that leaks out since we are using here the coco coir. It's a good material to contain the water, contain the nutrients, and has no bacteria in it. And what we like, so that has nothing to do with the soilless farming, but we compost it, and that we give it to neighbors. So it's something our compost. It's not we do not sell it, but we have composters, and they are happy about our compost because it's a good quality, and yeah. And the water efficiency is something I think it's also important to see. We had while back we measured how many gallons we needed to water the soil. So usually when you water a garden bed or a field, water is drained away. So you have no control about where the water goes. So you hope for the best that the plant can take out as much as possible. Environment is changing, surface is drying out, then you can still hope that the lower levels they keep the water, or you have too much of silt or whatever in your soil, so it stands there when you give more water, but you have no control of it. And for us, the eye opener was actually that with the vertical farming system, we contain the water. It's still the same from the beginning to the end. And even at the end of the growing season, we dilute the water, so we still use it for the crop that doesn't need too much of the nutrients anymore. So it's reusable, and we even if we dilute it, we keep the nutrient solution. We don't drain it. We don't put it away because it's free of microbes, and we can use it at any point in time. And if not for the plant, then we use it in propagation. There's always a use for our nutrients. So, and I think the figures they speak for themselves. That we don't need that much water. We had the highest for example for the cucumbers, the towers we had 2 gallons of water per day. In the highest season, that's actually nothing. So compared to let's say 2.8 gallon per day per plant. So we had that for about 33 plants using 2 gallons only in the highest season, so that we had then nutrient precision. That's we are very proud of that. That we do not contaminate any soil with our operations. So there is nothing that drains into the soil. There is just exactly the amount of nutrients that a plant needs. So that's why we measure that. That's why we are so picky about that. Try to see if there is any change on what needs to be done with record that. We are really so since we have container where we supply the water out of it, so we measure that in there. And if there's water missing, then we fill it or nutrient out of the values we can deduct which nutrient is missing and what to add. And this is something where we're really proud of that we see what the plant absorbs nutrients only that's needed, and there is no excess fertilizer and nothing that goes somewhere. And last thing I would like to share, I like this this photo Niklas did it, and I like it so much. We had we had helpers, so natural helpers in the process. You might think on the left-hand side that something, oh, it's disgusting or it's not helpful. It is. We had, unfortunately, we were finding this year a bit of mildew with cucumbers, but we had some helpers. There were ladybugs. They have the sloggies here, and they eat. They really feed from the mildew. So we let them sit there, and they just cleaned our leaves for the cucumbers. And we didn't invite them; they just came by nature. So just all of a sudden in the morning, we came to our plants and said, "Oh, what's that?" And then we were happy to have them. And the little guy sitting in here, it's a tree frog. We attracted for whatever reason we attracted tree frogs this year. So because it was so hot, I suppose, and the pots are always wet, humid, and they have shade there, probably much better than in the trees. So once I was nearly touching the little guy when I was about to harvest. It was a surprise because I didn't expect that. So that's something that really you could make use of it, even if you work on a urban farming outdoors. I think there are lots of insects that might be helpful in fighting some other insects or some other pests. And the only thing that we used was neem, and we try to do work as much as possible with the easy solutions. Although if there's something, we take the bugs away by hand. So it's not that since it's compact, the way we grow, we have easy control about that. And yeah, I think I'm running out of time. It seems so. I thought will be quicker. Maybe I explained too much. So nonetheless, I would like to give that to the audience to bombard us with questions if you have. Please feel free to ask questions via chat. I think Niklas will open the chat again. And
yeah, I have it open. Yes. Thank you very much for this really nice presentation. And yes, I mean, we open the floor. If anybody has any questions, please feel free. We still have some minutes.
I think we have 2 people raising their hand. Oh yeah, also in the chat. Which one should we do first? So we have one in the chat. What are some of the biggest challenges you faced while starting vertical farming, and has this changed over time?
Niklas, you or me?
You can start, and I can maybe add as well.
Yeah, the biggest challenge was we bought the system and we were told it works on its own. It didn't. Since we are lifelong learners, so we found out what is really about vertical farming, why we have to pay attention. And I was in the beginning, so we had already failed. So we bought it, and the first crop we tried to do was without knowing what to pay attention to. That was really a challenge, and we threw it out. It's compost by now. The first crop, so it didn't really come out as crop. So that's something, and this where we thought, where we said, okay, we had really to dig into that, all the topics, and yeah, we overcame that for sure. So we have harvested, and we do.
So yeah, I think that was the hardest part, getting started and getting a feel for it. Yeah, what to do, so many different things to watch out for, and to learn that you only know afterwards. So yeah, but that's part of the process. You find out what works for you, and a lot of these are just things that you have to figure out for yourself, because it's different for everyone else, for every system and for every location. And yeah. Okay, so then we also had 2 people raising their hands. I don't know, Denitsa, you had a question?
Yes, hello. I wanted to ask you, what would be your suggestion to people who live like in a small place and have also limited resources to approach what type of hydroponic system they should use, and also like plant selection and everything?
Mhm. I can start with that. I know that there are quite a lot of systems in the market, and if you have only a limited space, our recommendation would be to use the smallest version that you can get to start with. So it's less investment and it helps you to understand how it works. And indoors, when it's limited space, it really helps to work with LEDs. And I let some plants sitting in the propagation for a longer period of time with leafy salad, not that builds the cup, not like cup salad. And I would recommend to start with leafy green, like a herb garden, or with leafy green that you can even grow in your kitchen if you have a space. Let it sit there and put some LEDs over it. And starting with the first experience, that's the best thing. Don't go too big in the beginning. That's how we also did it. So we started small with small towers so to understand, and then we made it bigger. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Niklas, any
Yeah,
comments?
no, I think you said it all pretty much. Start small, figure out what works, how big you can go, what grows well, and then you can also, if you figured that out, you can start experimenting with other plants, what you think might work well, what you want to grow, and see if you can make that work. But yeah, for the beginning, just start small. There's a lot to learn and to figure out and to keep in mind. It's quite complex and a lot of different factors that you need to balance. Yeah. Okay. So, and next question.
Yes, hello, may I?
Yes.
So you
Please.
just mentioned that in the first station of like soilless vertical farm development, you have to conduct any kind of market research. And could you please explain what would be the most effective way of doing this research and how could we define our target group? Thank you.
Okay, I think I won't answer the question. I'll give it to you.
I'm not sure if I understood the question correctly. So the audio was not pretty well on my side. I apologize for that. Would you be so kind to repeat it? Or I don't know, I didn't hear it correctly. So
Yes, I mean, so that in the first stages of like soilless vertical farm development, you have to conduct any kind of market research to start planning, and what would be like the most effective way of doing this research, and how is it possible to define the target group?
Okay, yeah. To be honest, so we started research just simply about the website. Then I'm part of Facebook groups, also to learn more, get in touch with existing operations worldwide. India is quite leading in those type of businesses, and also compare that with conventional farming like greenhouses, and it's a bit difficult. Not difficult. It's not true. That's the wrong word. It's overwhelming what information are there, and on the one hand, everybody has its own ideas. The thing is with the vertical farming that it's not advanced like we are looking back at more than hundreds of years agriculture. It's a new type of agriculture. I would say it's not even in the childhood. It's even before. I think we are talking about the toddler at the moment that's crawling over the floor. And so the best thing is to get in touch via Facebook with being a member of different groups to learn about their experience, what they found best, and then compare with your environment, compare with that, what you have at hand, what you can use. So, and then draw your own conclusion, what might fit best. So, and my recommendation is always to have something, a vision in mind, what you want to do. And in accordance to that, you would structure your research. And that was also the way how we did it. We wanted to grow outdoors, using as little energy as possible, saving resources, being cost efficient. So in other words, the research driver for everything. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you so much. It was really informative.
Anything else? Any question we can help with?
Yes, yes. I would like to ask if you have tried to have a homemade liquid compost instead of nutrient solutions.
It's a good question, very good question. To be honest, we did. So we use a liquid organic nutrient solution that's used as fertilizer in the beginning. However, it has this. It needs to have microbes. So what we don't have in our environment is microbes in the entire system. So it's currently not, at the moment not. So Niklas is experimenting with different types of substrate, but in the current setup, the nutrients cannot be dissolved in a way and given to the plant as if they were in soil, because in soil you find tons of microbes that break down those particles in the organic nutrient solution, as you call it, composted nutrient liquid. And the way how we grow at the moment, it's not ready for it. Doesn't mean that it doesn't work. We do not have the experience with that. We try to do that. I know that there are some projects on the way that try to add some microbes into the nutrient solution. I have no idea how that ends up, but it has also its risks. So we are in the process, and I think we might do next presentation about that if Niklas is working on that. I think it's more your field.
We'll see. Yeah. At the moment, the nutrient.
Can't hear you. We can't hear him, right?
I think it was the internet connection.
You froze.
Yeah, Niklas, we couldn't hear you.
I think you froze. Okay, maybe if there's another question.
But we're working on it, and maybe also, yeah, the homemade part. Seeing if we can do on that. It's in progress.
I wanted to ask something else. If you have thought about integrating bokashi composting. It's like you said that you're missing the microbes that are fermenting maybe the biodegradable waste. And in bokashi sets, they give you this powder. So you start with them and they develop over time. So you have this liquid nutrient-rich liquid composting.
Okay. I think we take notes on that, Niklas. We need to do a bit of research. On my end, I have never heard about it. Jonna, would be nice if you give us maybe a link or something or a bit more details. We definitely will look into that.
And also another, because you were talking about feature plants, the plants that are attracting the bugs that want to eat the valuable plants. Do you know about nasturtium, or are you using it?
Which one?
Nasturtium. It's a plant with yellow or orange flowers that is eatable, and it attracts plants. So it can attract your plants, your bugs, the bugs that want to eat your plants, and then you can also eat it if they leave something out of it, of course.
I didn't know that either, so that's something new
Okay,
to
yeah, I
us.
see. It's good that we do this now.
Yeah.
Learning for us. Thank you.
That's interesting, because when you say it's eatable plants, the only plant that we also use that we have mixed into it, but just standing nearby, or meat-eating plants. So sometimes you have the pitcher plants or the those type of plants, but they are not edible. So we would definitely like to look into that. That's a good hint. Thank you very much. We will go and look at that.
Yeah. All right. So we also have another question. What can be challenges to integrate or transition from traditional to vertical farming?
Challenges, yeah. In general, I would say depends from where one comes from. It can be used many knowledge that's based on traditional farming. When you talk about traditional farming, be it organic, even conventional farming, that means the big greenhouse operations, that are in place. They even have rich experience with the way of growing, and that for sure can be used. However, not all of those knowledge can be used, so to say. So it's something that the challenge in it is to distinguish between what is usable and what not. And the biggest challenge is be ready to learn the entire life for it. So like each farmer, so each situation is different. So, and but it doesn't do any harm to have enough knowledge, experience from a regular farming. We come more from the organic farming side. Whatever we did in soil was organically based, and we never ever used pretty much of fertilizer that's not composted or whatever, or pesticides. However, I think there are lots of information available from traditional farming too, from greenhouses, because my personal belief is that the soilless farming is somewhere developed from Holland. When they had these huge greenhouses, they have those big wedges of some, I don't know, it's cocoa coir or whatever that is. Sometimes it's the substrate. They grow plants in substrate into the hive, and they wash through the nutrient solution, but they don't capture it. So, but I think the initial basis is coming from traditional farming, I would say so. And yeah, but it needs to be developed. As I was saying earlier, it's the toddler. So we need to learn with the toddler, and we need to experiment and help the toddler get to the feet and being a substantial part in the future as a new way of farming that protects our environment and saves resources. And the challenge is really to use less resources that's given by nature and don't ruin any natural resource just for the purpose of producing food. We need to be close to customers. We need to use in future every single space that's suitable for growing in order to feed a constantly growing population. Hope that answers the question.
I think that also in traditional farming, you can grow bigger variety of fruits and vegetables as well.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Absolutely right. You cannot, at least not that we know, we cannot, would not produce potatoes or something root-based vegetable like carrots. And as I was saying, with the radish, I was successful. Good.
Great. We went a little over the time, but I think it was really nice.
Apologies.
Thank you. No.
Yes, I would like to say good morning, afternoon, or evening to everyone, because our speakers are from Canada, like they're in Canada, they're not from Canada. and for them it's morning, but from, I guess, most of the people who are present there in Europe. Welcome to our webinar about vertical farming, which is part of Echoing Plus project. We're thrilled to have you all here today as we delve into the world of farming, sustainability, and its critical role in combating climate change. Today we have the privilege, our presenters, our speakers, to be two incredible people who has recently started their own vertical farm, Niklas and Sylvie Riese. I hope I also pronounced the names correctly. Our agenda for today is structured around these key points: the meaning of being an entrepreneur, a glimpse into lifestyle's vertical farming experience, and contribution of vertical farming to fight climate change. Before we start, I want to mention that we have 8 more webinars on vertical farming coming up, and you can stay updated by visiting our Facebook page or the website of the project. Marco pasted it in the comments, and it will be pasted also when we upload the video in YouTube. Well,
so thank you again, thank you to the speakers, and thank you again to the participants for being here with us. This is a webinar part of a Echoing Plus project, and the project focuses on educating on vertical farming in particular, but also in the fight against climate change in general. And I'm sure that this will inspire participants and youth to dive into vertical farming, hopefully. Thank you again, and thank you, everyone.